was already in the room. Most people think evil announces itself. They think it kicks in the door. They think it growls. They think it looks like something they'd recognize. But real evil doesn't do that. Real evil smiles. It nods. It holds the door open for you. It tells you the safest route through the woods. It hands you your room key before you even ask your name. And by the time you realize something is wrong, you are already inside its world. Tonight's stories are all connected by one simple truth. The most dangerous person you will ever meet will look normal. The first time I understood that, I was 23 years old, driving north on a road I should have left an hour earlier. It was one of those empty back highways that seemed to stretch forever. No houses, no stores, no gas stations, just trees packed tight on both sides of the road like they were leaning in to watch. It had been raining off and on for hours, enough to leave the blacktop shining under my headlights. The radio kept cutting in and out, so I shut it off and drove in silence. That was when I saw him. He was standing on the shoulder with his thumb out, not moving, not waving, just standing there under a dead road sign like he'd been planted in the dirt. He looked harmless at first, mid-30s maybe, dark jacket, jeans, small duffel bag at his feet, thin face, clean shaven, the kind of guy you'd forget 10 seconds after seeing him in a gas station. I should have kept driving. I know that now, but back then, I slowed down. He stepped toward the passenger side window before I'd even fully stopped, like he knew I was going to pull over. When I cracked the glass, he leaned just enough for me to smell wet earth and cigarette smoke. Car broke down about 5 miles back, he said, calm voice, no panic. No rush. There's a motel up ahead. If you can drop me there, I'd appreciate it. I asked him, what motel? He smiled. The only one. That should have been enough. There shouldn't have been an only one out there. I'd been driving through nothing for nearly an hour, but I unlocked the door anyway, and he slid in like he belonged there. He put the duffel at his feet and buckled his seatbelt without being told. That was the first thing that bothered me. Not because it was strange, but because it was too normal, too practiced, like he'd done this before. For the first few minutes, he barely spoke. Then he started giving me directions. Take the next bend slow, he said quietly. Road dips harder than it looks. A few seconds later, the road dipped exactly the way he said. A mile later, he told me there'd be a fallen branch near the shoulder. There was. Then he said, in about 2 minutes, you'll see a small church on the left. White paint peeling. No steeple. I tightened my hands on the wheel. How do you know this road so well? He kept looking straight ahead. I've traveled it before. That answer sat wrong in my stomach. Not because of what he said, because of how he said it. Like he wasn't remembering the road, like he was reciting it. A minute later, the church appeared exactly as he described. White, rotting, no steeple. My headlights caught the front windows, and for half a second, I thought I saw someone standing inside, watching us pass. I didn't mention it, neither did he. Then the trees opened up, and I saw the motel. It looked like it had been built 40 years earlier, and then forgotten by the world. One long single-story building, faded sign, half the letters dead, office window glowing yellow, one car in the lot, only one. He exhaled softly, almost relieved. Told you, he said. I parked in front of the office, rain tapped on the windshield. The motel looked dead except for that office light. No TVs flickering behind curtains, no people moving, no sound except the rain and the ticking of my cooling engine. You staying too? He asked. I should have said no. Instead, I looked at the dashboard clock, looked at the woods, looked at the empty road behind us, and made the worst decision of the night. Yeah, I said. Probably. His smile came back. Not big, just enough. Good. You don't want to be out here after midnight. We got out together and crossed the lot. The office bell above the door gave one weak little jingle when I opened it. The man behind the counter was older, late 60s, maybe. Thin gray hair combed straight back, glasses low on his nose. He had a ledger open on the desk in front of him and an old key already sitting beside it. That key was for me. I knew it before he said a word. "Room 7, he said, sliding it across the desk. I stopped. "I didn't tell you I needed a room." He looked up slowly, then gave me the kind of smile people use when they think you're being difficult. Most folks stopping this late need one. I looked at the hitchhiker. He was standing by the door, silent, water dripping off his jacket, watching me with the same calm expression he'd worn in the car. The old man reached under the counter and brought up a second key. "Room 9, he said, "for your friend." My friend. The hitchhiker took it without speaking. I signed the ledger because at that point, leaving felt stranger than staying. That's the thing nobody tells you about fear. Once you're in it, your brain starts making bad choices just to keep things feeling normal. I paid cash, took my key, and stepped back into the rain. Room 7 was near the end. My room. His room was 2 doors down. I unlocked the door and went inside. The first thing that hit me was the smell. Not rot, not mold. Something worse, something covered up, like bleach and old sweat and damp carpet. The room was simple. 1 bed, 1 chair, TV bolted to the dresser, bathroom door half open, floral curtains, the kind of place you'd never photograph and never mention again. I set my bag down and locked the door. Then I locked it again, just to hear the sound. That should have been the end of it. But 10 minutes later, while brushing my teeth in the bathroom, I heard something from the wall above the sink. A soft sound, not pipes, breathing. I froze. It came again, slow, patient, right on the other side of the vent. I stepped closer. The metal grate was old, painted over a dozen times. I could feel cold air brushing my knuckles. Then I heard something even worse than breathing, a faint scrape, like someone shifting their weight. I backed out of the bathroom and stood in the middle of the room, listening. Every second stretched. I told myself it was the ventilation system, another guest, old building noises, anything but what I knew it was. Then I noticed the chair. It faced the bed, not the TV, not the window, the bed. That was enough for me. I grabbed my bag and opened the door. The parking lot was empty. My car was still there, but the office light had gone out. Room 9 was dark too. I stood in the rain, heart pounding, and told myself I was overreacting. Then I glanced down the row of windows and saw something move behind the curtain of room 7. My room. Someone was inside. I took 1 step back, then another. That was when I heard the voice behind me. "You forgot your bag." I turned so fast I nearly slipped. The hitchhiker was standing 3 feet away under the eave, dry now, holding my duffel in one hand. I hadn't heard his door open, hadn't heard footsteps, nothing. He held the bag out, and when I didn't take it, he tilted his head. "You look upset." I stared at him. "How did you get in my room?" He smiled again, smaller this time, colder, and that was when I saw it. Same eyes as the man behind the desk. Not color, expression, that flat measuring look, like I wasn't a person, like I was a problem being solved. I didn't answer. I just ran. I left the bag, left the key, left everything but the clothes on my back and the car keys in my pocket. I got in the car, slammed the locks down, and turned the ignition so hard I thought the key would snap. In the rearview mirror, he was still standing there, not chasing me, not shouting, just watching. As I peeled out of the lot, my headlights swept over the office window. The old man was inside again, standing perfectly still, watching too. I drove until sunrise and didn't stop once. 3 days later, after I'd barely slept and finally convinced myself I wasn't losing my mind, I called the county sheriff's office for that area. I told them about the motel, the hitchhiker, the breathing in the vent, the man at the desk, everything. There was a long silence on the line. Then the deputy asked me to repeat the motel's name. I did. Another silence. Then he said something I still think about at night. That motel burned down 11 years ago. I laughed, not because it was funny, because I felt my mind trying to come apart. He kept talking, said the place had been linked to an investigation years back. Missing travelers, drifters, a couple passing through, a salesman, nothing proven. Then the fire. By the time authorities dug through the wreckage, most of what mattered was gone. 2 bodies were found in the ruins, owner and night clerk. No mention of a hitchhiker. I asked him what stood there now. He said, just foundation and weeds. I hung up and drove back a week later in broad daylight because some part of me needed to know if I was insane. The road was real. The church was real. The bend was real. And the motel was gone. Nothing left but a cracked concrete slab sinking into wet earth. Burn marks. Rusted bed springs in the weeds. A collapsed sign half swallowed by vines. I stood there shaking, looking at the place where room 7 should have been. That was when I saw something caught in the brush. An old motel key tag. Plastic. Faded, burned on one edge. Number 7. I still have it. And here's the part I never told anyone until now. Last month, almost 12 years after that night, I stopped at a gas station 2 states away, went in for coffee, paid cash, turned to leave, and standing at the end of aisle 3, like no time had passed at all, was him. Same thin face, same dark jacket, same calm eyes. He gave me a small nod, like we were old friends. Then he said the words I'd heard on that road all those years ago. There's a motel up ahead. He never let me leave. If you've been here since the beginning, the road, the motel, the basement, then you already know this isn't over. Before we finish this, tell me something. Do you think I ever actually left that place? Because what happened next is the part I've never told anyone. If you like these stories, subscribe. Let's get back to it. Part 3. The Last Guest. I didn't move, not when I heard his voice, not when I saw the shadow at the top of the stairs. Because in that moment, something inside me finally understood what this was. I hadn't found the motel. The motel had found me. The light in my hand flickered again. Weaker this time. The air in the basement felt thicker, harder to breathe, like it was pressing in from every side, closing the space between me and the walls. You shouldn't have come back. His voice again, calm, patient, not angry. That was the worst part. There was no rush in him, no panic, no fear that I might escape. Because he knew something I didn't. I tightened my grip on the phone and forced myself to speak. What is this place? Silence, then a slow creak from above, like weight shifting on old wood. It's where people stop, he said. I swallowed hard. And the ones who don't stop. Another pause. They always come back. My chest tightened because I had, not once, twice, and now, a third time. The thought hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't chance. This wasn't bad luck. This was a pattern. I looked down at the tape still in my hand. Room 7. My room. The room he gave me. The room the old man already had the key for. My stomach dropped. Slowly. I turned the tape over. There was something else written on the back. Faded, pressed deep into the label like it had been written hard. A date, not from 11 years ago, from last month. My hand started shaking. That's when I heard the first step, not above me, behind me. I spun around so fast the light blurred across the walls, the shelves, the marks, the empty space where the box had been, and for a split second, I saw movement in the dark corner of the room. Not clear, not solid, but enough. Someone else was down there. My breath caught in my throat. "Hello," I said, barely louder than a whisper. No answer. Then the light flickered again, longer this time, and when it came back, the corner was empty. But the feeling wasn't. That feeling that you're not alone. That something is standing just outside your vision, waiting for you to turn the wrong way. I backed toward the stairs slowly. every instinct screaming at me to run, but my legs refusing to move faster. 1 step, 2, 3. The closer I got to the stairs, the colder it became, and the darker, like the light was being pulled away from me. Then I saw it. Halfway up the steps, a hand, resting on the edge of the wall, long fingers, still, waiting. I froze. The hand didn't move, didn't twitch, didn't react. It just stayed there, like it had all the time in the world. Then, another hand appeared above it, and, slowly, a face leaned into view. Same thin face, same empty eyes, same calm expression, exactly as I remembered. He looked down at me like I had never left, like I'd always been here. "You took the room," he said softly. My voice came out broken. "I left." He tilted his head. "No." A small smile. "You checked in." The words didn't hit right away, but when they did, everything snapped into place. The key, the ledger, the room already waiting, the tape, the date. This wasn't random. This wasn't a trap. This was a system, and I had completed it. I had arrived. I had stayed. I had returned. And now, I was part of it. My legs gave out for a second, and I caught myself on the wall. "No," I said. "That's not." I left. I drove away. You drove, he said calmly. "But you didn't leave." My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was tearing through my chest. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped down 1 stair, then another, slow, controlled, like every movement was already decided. And as he got closer, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. His clothes weren't wet, not like that first night, not like they should have been. They were clean, still, like he had been waiting. "For how long?" I asked. His smile didn't change. "That depends." "On what?" He stopped halfway down the stairs, and for the first time, his eyes locked directly onto mine. "On how long it takes you to understand." The basement felt smaller, the air heavier, like the walls were closing in around us. Then, he said the one thing I still hear when I try to sleep. "You're not the driver anymore." My stomach dropped, because suddenly, I remembered something I hadn't thought about since that night. The rearview mirror, the empty road, and that feeling that something was behind me, matching my speed. That something was behind me, matching my speed, waiting. My grip tightened on the phone. "What happens now?" I asked. He took 1 more step down, close enough now that I could see every detail of his face, every line, every shadow, every inch of something that wasn't right. "Now," he said softly, "you wait." The light went out, completely. No flicker, no warning, just darkness, total, silent. And in that darkness, I heard movement, not from him, from everywhere, shifting, breathing, dragging, like the room wasn't empty anymore, like it had never been. My hands went out in front of me, reaching for something, anything, but there was nothing to grab onto. Just cold air and that smell again, stronger now, filling my lungs. I tried to move, tried to run, but something stopped me. Not physically, not hands, not chains, just the overwhelming certainty that there was nowhere to go. Then I heard it. A door, not the basement hatch, a different door, opening. Light flooded in, blinding, warm. I stumbled forward, shielding my eyes, and suddenly I was standing outside. Daylight, road, trees, my car, parked exactly where it had been that first night. Engine off, keys in the ignition. I stood there shaking, trying to understand what was happening, trying to piece it together. Then I saw the sign, the motel sign, not burned, not broken, whole, like it had never been touched, and the office light was on. Behind me, I heard footsteps. I didn't turn right away, because I already knew, but I did anyway. And there he was, standing by the passenger door, dry, calm, waiting, like always. He gave me that same small nod, then opened the door. "Car broke down a few miles back," he said. Same words, same tone, like nothing had changed, like everything had. I looked at him, then at the motel, then at the road stretching out ahead of us, and I understood. Finally, I wasn't leaving, I wasn't escaping, I wasn't surviving. I was continuing it. The door stayed open, waiting, so I got in. And this time, I didn't stop the car.